All right, everybody. How are we doing today? Welcome back to another episode of the Robbie Basel Show. Today is April 19th, 2024. Another day, another episode. That's just the way I run it here. And today, I have the NHL playoffs to break down for you guys. The FA Cup with the ties this week for the semifinals and the backlash they're getting. The FA is after a recent decision that we will break down for you today. We'll go over the Champions League and the Premier League. But I'm not starting with any of that today because we're actually starting with the topic I've never started an episode with. We are starting with Formula One. So this weekend we are in China, and here's how this weekend works. We have the sprint today. Let's actually go over the schedule. We can go over the schedule here on the website for Formula One. So make it easy for you guys. Let's go over this. So we have qualifying after the sprint. The sprint is today at 2300, so 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then qualifying is at 3 a.m., which I don't think anyone's going to watch. But sprint qualifying was insanity. We had 4 different people in the lead at one point. SQ3 was in the rain. So here's what happened. It started it off with the weirdness began with Hamilton. Actually, I think it was Alonso got pole, then Hamilton, and then Lando got it down the stretch, like 10 seconds left. And then his time got deleted due to track limits. Verstappen had the same problem. He had times deleted due to track limits. And then with like seconds remaining, Lando's time gets reinstated for whatever the reason. And Lando Norris is on pole for the sprint. I'm all for it. Max is in 4th. We have no idea how this is going to go. Because in a situation like this, anything can happen. And that's the beauty of this. Because if you really think about it, it's right now in Shanghai. It's raining. It's raining through the rest of what is known as Friday in Shanghai. It is like 10 p.m. there already. It shouldn't be raining for the rest of the race weekend. It could be raining at the very beginning of the early middle stages of the race. So what you love about this track is that anything is possible. And it shows with this sprint qualifying grid. A weird track. I don't like Shanghai very much, even though the older generation does like it. We've seen a lot of great moments there. The driver to watch out for, of course, is Lando Norris. I'm watching out for Piastri because he was really, really quick for the majority of sprint qualifying, but he is down here in P8. So he could be maybe a dark horse to get into like the top 5. Leclerc was not good today. You'll see him down here in P7 with Carlos Sainz P5. Perez and Verstappen, the sandwich in between them is Carlos Sainz. I don't even think I used that term right. Down the order, we see Zhou Guanyu, the hometown hero. Valtteri Bottas was P2 at one point in the sprint qualifying SQ3 because of the rain. And, he couldn't really get the power down at times, and that's what happens. The surprise here is, of course, Russell. He missed out by, due to math to figure it out here, folks, it's about 4/100ths of a second. Not even, I don't know. It's like 4/100ths of a second. The margins are insane. And if you look who got out in Q1, the shocker here, of course, is Alex Albon. Stroll barely got out, but then he finished in the bottom. Danny Rick actually made it out of Q1, so he did better in qualifying than Yuki Tsunoda. But the big shock here, of course, is going to be Lando Norris. And the question will be for the rest of the race weekend, can he keep it up? Because that McLaren was about P4 or 5 in the dry tires, I think would have been the place for them. Fernando Alonso looked really fast in the wet, which you could say how you will, but look at the gap with the lap that Lando was able to put down. About a second and change between him and Hamilton. So if it's raining again, Lando Norris is winning this race. But I don't know. It's a lot can possibly happen. I like Lando. I have him P2 in my season prediction, but a lot of things can happen, and I'm just so excited for what can possibly happen. The storylines that can come out of this: Lando wins, Hamilton podium. We haven't heard either of those. We haven't heard Lando Norris win before. We haven't heard Hamilton podium in a little while, so it's always good to see something like that. But that is your F1 update. We're going to go now to what this video is really about, and we're going to go over my NHL season predictions for the playoffs, and we'll go over the playoffs. So, we'll start with the West, and we'll start with the Central Division top left. I had in this division, coming out of the West, the Central Division, I had Colorado winning it, then Dallas, and then Winnipeg. As you can see, there's Dallas and Winnipeg. And, hello, Colorado. Yeah. Look at that top three. I didn't even know this is how they're doing the playoffs. I thought they just re-seed everyone, but apparently not. News to me, but Stars are opening up with Vegas. I think this is like a rematch of the conference finals from last year? Or semifinals? I have no idea. But they played each other in the playoffs last year. I remember that. Now the Jets and Avalanche. This, I didn't have the seeding right. I had Colorado winning into the division and Dallas and Winnipeg. But I did have the three teams right. So, gotta give me that. And in the Pacific, I did not have Vancouver winning it. I had Vegas and then Edmonton. Edmonton is in second, so I got the position right. But then here's where I screwed up. I had Seattle in third. They did terrible. Then I had the Kings, who are here, and then Calgary. I don't want to talk about it because we have the two different teams right here in Vegas, in Vancouver, and the Canucks, and then the Nashville Predators. Great season from Vancouver. I did not expect them to be here. Same with Nashville, really, but listen, we'll talk about that matchup later. Let's predict the West first. So, I have Stars over Golden Knights in 6 games. The high-end talent of Dallas, they have so many stars on that team. Vegas is, I think they're getting Mark Stone back. But the defending Cup champions, I think, are going to really struggle in a series that, with puck drop, I believe on, is that Monday? I don't know. It's going to be a weird one. I have Dallas in 6. It's going to be fun. Anything can happen. I'm going to go with the experienced Colorado Avalanche to defeat the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets team, I talked about them earlier, they're a good team. But with the lack of playoff experience, I think it's really going to hurt them. I have Colorado defeating the Winnipeg Jets. And this one, we'll talk about that matchup in a minute. Down here, I'm going to have Vancouver and Edmonton. The feel-good story of Vancouver is going to continue. Edmonton's high-end talent is going to carry them. And I have Edmonton's high-end talent carrying them over the Canucks in 7 games. Back to here again. We're going to go with Dallas, and they're going to make it to the finals as I have them beating Edmonton because they have more than 2 good players. If you really think about it, how many good players do you need to win the Stanley Cup? Not only 2. Edmonton's goaltending is questionable. Heck, I think they can even make it out in the first round here to Los Angeles. I think they can easily lose the series to Vancouver. They would beat Nashville. But there's just so many toss-ups of what could possibly happen to this Edmonton team that you really can think that this team can go out in the first round. It could go out in the second round. Or it can be as high-flying as, they can make the finals. I don't have them going that far. I have them losing in the conference finals to the Dallas Stars. I have the Dallas Stars in the finals. Over on the top right, let's look at my predictions here. I have Boston winning the division, then Toronto. They're facing each other. And then I had Florida, and then Tampa. So this was supposed to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 1, 4, 2, 3. So listen, I had 4 of the teams right, so you got to give me that. Then I had Buffalo. I was way too high on Buffalo. We'll talk about those matchups in a moment. And then I had the Rangers, and actually in third. I had Carolina win the division. and then I had the Devils. So over here I did not have the Islanders, and I did not have Washington. So actually I only had 11 of the 16 teams right, which is actually like pretty terrible, but I don't know what standard to have for that. So I'm just trying to reply to my friend here. See, I got 11 of 16 right. The East was terrible. But let's look at this matchup. I have Florida keeping it up against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they're going to face off against a team that I have making it past the first round in the Boston Bruins. Toronto kind of screwed here. I think they could have beaten Florida, and they would definitely have beaten Tampa, but I had that series in the bottom, the one with my cursor over it. I have this one going just all the way to 7, but at the end I have Boston. They can actually get past the first round, and I think they're going to start their revenge tour here. I have them getting past the first round. I have the New York Rangers beating the Capitals in 5 games, and they're going to go up against the New York Islanders. I think this Isles team can make a real big push. This is my favorite series of them all. With the Islanders, you can't even see the screen at all. With the Islanders and the Hurricanes, an all New York matchup. We'll talk about that in a moment. Up here, I'm going to go with Boston over Florida. I hate that to make that pick, but I have to do it. I have Boston over Florida, and then back to these two. I am doing it. Listen, you can go after me for this pick. I am not biased because I am from Long Island. All right, I am not biased because I am from Long Island. The President's Trophy winners typically don't do very well in the Stanley Cup playoffs. I have the same thing here. Whoever wins this series is going to beat the Rangers. I feel horrible making that pick because Boston's going through to the finals. And so that would set up my finals to be the Dallas Stars and the Boston Bruins. I think that'd be a very fun Stanley Cup Finals matchup. Dallas, a team that I don't really know if they've won it before. Boston has. They have a lot of history. And I am not going on the full revenge tour narrative. I have the Dallas Stars going up and winning the Stanley Cup Finals. What a weird pick. What a weird bracket by me to have Dallas win it. I think a lot of people are going to say the New York Rangers. I think a lot of people are going to say Florida. I think a lot of people are going to say a team out of nowhere like a Colorado Avalanche. I like the idea of Colorado, but at the end of the day, you already know who I picked. I am going with Dallas to be my Stanley Cup champions. I have them going all the way and making some real noise. So, where to next, you should say? We are going to... Let's go to Europe first. Let's go to Europe first today. We're going to go to the Champions League games from Wednesday. Games that ripped my heart and soul during my broadcast. And we had Bayern beat Arsenal with a late goal by Joshua Kimmich. I think I said that right. I don't know how they say it in German. But Bayern advanced 3-2 on aggregate. And then we have this game, which get me on this screen, please. We had an early goal by Rodrigo, and then De Bruyne equalized. And then we went to penalties, and a couple of big saves got Real Madrid the win. They win on penalties. They advance to the Champions League semifinals, where they will face the aforementioned Bayern. And now let us look at our Champions League semifinals. We have Bayern and Real Madrid. We have Dortmund and Paris Saint-Germain. What a weird semifinals this is. First of all, gotta love how many I got wrong with this. I know I got the top one wrong because I had Man City winning it all. But what a weird set of matches. You have a matchup here with whoever wins this semifinal is winning the whole thing. You have to think this is Real Madrid, right? But honestly, with the way this is going, I honestly have no idea who is going to win this. Like, dead serious. I'm picking Real Madrid to win on aggregate 4-3. But honestly, I could see Bayern winning this 4-3 as well. It could go either way. The high-end talent of Real Madrid, the experience with Bayern, with Tuchel as the manager, they were able to really be a good Arsenal team. An Arsenal team that actually looked really bad both legs, to me at least. They were not really able to live up to their potential. Momentum does matter, and we saw that how Arsenal struggled in the final third. They really couldn't get anything going with guys like Trossard, Bukayo Saka, Jesus, Odegaard, Martin Odegaard as well. So it was a struggle. Thank God I didn't get to watch the full game, though. I would have lost my mind. But Arsenal's first trip to the Champions League in a while has their. I mean, we made it past. We were very competitive in the quarterfinals, albeit against a down Bayern team, but a Bayern team with more experience in the Champions League than Arsenal does. So I am actually not that disappointed. I am disappointed, but not as much as other fans. Bayern Real Madrid, I have Real Madrid going through. They're going to face, I think, Paris Saint-Germain. And then that will set up a final, if you really think about it, with the Avengers. We saw it at like WrestleMania. I don't know if you guys watch wrestling here, where like everyone was coming out of nowhere. The last dance of Mbappe being in a Champions League final with Paris Saint-Germain. Like, that's like the weirdest narrative you can possibly think of. It would be very cool to see Borussia Dortmund with a lot of young players. Is Marco Reus still there? I have no idea. Like, being able to come out here and make some noise late. Whoever wins this tie is going to be a lot of fun, too. I have PSG winning 4-2 on aggregate over Borussia Dortmund. I think Dortmund wins the first leg, but I think Paris wins the second. It should be fun. I'm very excited. I think both of those ties can go either way. But if you really think about it, it should be going to the way of the higher-end talent. And that's where I'm going with this. Real Madrid, under Ancelotti, they have a lot of talented players, and they're really able to shut down a very good Manchester City team. They were able to shut down other good teams throughout their Champions League campaign so far. I think it's going to be a little bit of a rinse and repeat. I have Real Madrid over Bayern. And PSG, man, what a comeback they had on Tuesday night. It will not go overlooked by me at all. What they were able to do in the attack late on after the red card, which I agree is a red card because that's what the law says. It's a weird situation. Well, it was weird for Barca. They handled it horribly. And they're going to go up against a Dortmund team that they know how to fight back really well, too. They were able to come back and beat Atletico Madrid. So it's going to be fun, whoever wins those ties. But I have Real Madrid facing PSG in the Champions League final. Now that my Champions League prediction is wrong. Next up, we're going to go to the FA Cup. And I don't know. We're going over the fixtures for this weekend. So here are your semifinals. On Saturday, we have Manchester City, who lost earlier this week. They'll be facing against Chelsea. And in the other semifinal, Coventry is facing Manchester United. I'm actually going to talk about the Europa League in a moment because there's something I need to talk about for that. What a narrative Coventry is. I totally have them losing, but man, what a narrative it would be for a team like Coventry to make it to the FA Cup final. It would be awesome to see them in the FA Cup final. I'm going to talk about this pretty quickly because I don't have a lot of time left today. I have Manchester United defeating Coventry City. I think they're going to win 2-0. I think Coventry's going to struggle against a solid, I think, Manchester United attack. Watch out for Garnacho and Rashford. I think they each score. Højlund, I don't know. But I have Manchester United going to the FA Cup final. I'm going to have it all Manchester for the FA Cup final this year. I have City over Chelsea. I have City winning only 1-0. I think this game can go really back and forth, but in a neutral site, I think Chelsea can make some noise, but I think City is going to come away with the win, setting up an all-Manchester derby for the FA Cup final in a couple of weeks. And the other thing I wanted to talk about with the FA Cup today was the decision to take away replays. Replays are gone starting next season, and the EFL clubs are not happy about this, because they think it's an absolute joke. It hasn't gone well with the fans of the clubs, and they are demanding action because, I mean, granted, it's from the first round proper on. I believe that's what it is. So it's just in addition to that adjustment, FA games will now be played on the weekends, while the final itself will be held on the penultimate weekend of the Premier League season and will not clash with league matches. The removal of replays has been met with anger from fans of EFL clubs, partially given that the decision will lead to loss of revenue and losses of away days if their team is drawn at home. A lot of these the FA Cup ties bring a lot. For those who don't know, I'm trying to get myself full screen here. Those FA Cup ties bring, when the team goes on the road, those like lower level teams, your Coventry's, your like from a few years ago with what's their name? Say like Bolton goes to Luton, because that's what was one of the matches there. The Bolton Wanderers get some of the gate money. So that's how a lot of these teams profit off of something like this. That's why teams want to go on these deeper runs. But now that there's going to be no more replays and sometimes not a chance to go on the road to get more money, EFL clubs, which for those who don't know, it's the Championship, League One, and League Two. It's met with some backlash. And you really can't blame them, because it's like, why? Oh, here's my favorite part. A club, the Tranmere Rovers, blasting the FA and the Premier League over their joint decision and stating that the EFL, National League, and the grassroots clubs were not even consulted about the changes. How the hell is this possible? How? I've never seen this. Well, I have, but like, not to this extent. And then they stated the decision, the way it was taken, demonstrates a total lack of respect for the football pyramid and its fans. 100% right. This is a money grab for the top of the league. We all know that they're possibly changing financial fair play rules as well, that I haven't really been able to talk about because we really haven't had time for it. But what a change this is going to be. I'm interested to see in the future how it affects teams, even in the English lower leagues. If you come up from the Vanarama National League, the National League North or South, the Isthmian League, I think that's how you say it. Like, leagues like that. This is only benefiting the top of the pyramid, and it doesn't benefit anyone else. It's like a pyramid scheme in a sense. I think it's the right term for this. I don't know. It just felt right because I was talking about pyramids. But what a bad decision by the FA. And we've seen this in cups from another English-speaking country with the United States, where they're trying to remove English teams, MLS teams out of the U.S. Open Cup. And it hasn't really worked to their plan because the MLS Next teams, some of them have gotten beaten by a burrito chain. So take it how you will. But back to this. This is crazy that we're even talking about this. I found out the news yesterday. I was ready to talk about it, but man, I did not expect this much backlash from fans and teams. Wow. Well done, though, by the smaller teams. I mean, it says, this is beautiful. We condemn the changes wholeheartedly and urge the FA to suspend them immediately until all stakeholders in the game are properly consulted, aka give us more money. I think they kind of have to do that at this point, but I don't know. We will be following the situation and possibly have more news about it on the next show on Tuesday morning, which, by the way, I'm filming this at 9:30 in the morning, but just for reference. This is the news at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Where we're at right now, teams are blasting the FA over a poor decision to remove FA Cup replays. That's where we're at right now. It is crazy that we're even talking about this. Finally today, I know haven't been able to talk a lot about certain topics today. So if you want me to go deeper into certain topics, make sure to comment, tell me about it in the comments below. Next week, I might be doing a mock draft live on Tuesday at the back end of Tuesday's show. I honestly don't know, but we're definitely doing some draft stuff on Tuesday. And regarding the stream on Friday, I just have to talk about this real quick. It's still up in the air. I actually think I am going to do it, at least for the second round. So make sure you're following my Instagram to never miss an update on this show and what will be happening next. Back to the insanity. We have the Premier League this week. We have Luton Town against Brentford, Sheffield and Burnley, and Wolves against Arsenal for your contests on Saturday. I love this Luton matchup. It is must-win territory for Luton. Last chance for Luton. Last chance for Burnley here this weekend. I will be watching that Luton-Brentford match. It's going to go back and forth. I like Luton at Kenilworth Road to not blow it. I think they're going to have a scare of blowing it, but I think they win 2-1 over Brentford. A massive win for Luton. Gets them back in the chance to get out of relegation. I have Burnley narrowly beating Sheffield United 1-0. It's going to be insanity. I think that game is going to be awesome. And I have Arsenal beating Wolves 2-0, a revenge game for Arsenal after their poor last two performances. Down here on Sunday, we have Everton and Forest, Villa and Bournemouth, Crystal Palace and West Ham United, and Fulham against Liverpool. We're going to talk about the top game last, which is not something we usually do here. I have Aston Villa beating Bournemouth. I have Crystal Palace drawing West Ham. And I have Fulham losing to Liverpool only by a score of 2-1. Now back to the top game. This is the really focusing on the relegation battle this week, because if this game draws, the table is incredibly impacted. I have Everton winning, by the way. I have Everton winning this, setting up a chance for Luton Town to get out of the bottom three. Because if we take a look at the current table, and we'll go back to the fixture list in a minute, we look down at the relegation zone, we know what these teams are dealing with. A win for Luton and a loss for Forest can push Luton to 17th, Everton closer to Brentford, and would put Everton 4 points out of relegation and Luton get them out of the relegation zone to begin with. And even imagine a draw. Even a draw would make this more crazy because it would be 1 point difference between these two. A win for Luton would push them all the way up to 16th in the table, I believe. No, they would put them in 17th. My mistake, because they have the worst goal difference than Everton. But look at this. These two tied in goal difference. 1 point separating the two. Going out to battle against each other. A Brentford win would seal the deal for them to not be relegated. What a story this could be. What a major weekend this can turn into. Not for the top half of the league, but the bottom half. If you really think about it, I have Everton winning 1-0 over Nottingham Forest. This game is going to be insanity. With how much is on the line, I think this game is going to be crazy. Arsenal plays Chelsea. We'll talk about this game real quick. I have Arsenal winning over Chelsea 3-2. I think this is a high-scoring affair. Arsenal might be rotating. I don't know. I have the Gunners winning this over Chelsea, but don't be surprised if this is a draw and really takes Arsenal out of the title race. I think that would be chaos, and we'll talk about these games, including a good old derby match at Goodison Park next time, as well as Brighton and City, a game that could possibly really change the run of the Premier League once again. It's going to be a crazy week in sports, but unfortunately, shorter episode. That is all the time I have for you guys here today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Next time, NFL draft, more NFL draft notes, more NFL draft news on who could possibly be joining the draft special, if anyone, because some of the plans are not gone. Some of the ideas haven't gone exactly to plan. But we'll let you guys know on the next episode of the Robbie Basel Show. But for now, you already know who I am. I'm Robbie Basel saying so long. Make sure to like and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you guys Tuesday. Goodbye, everyone.